The Mars Volta Lucro Sucio album review. Let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here tonight to chat about this latest album from El Paso-based progressive rock legends, the Mars Volta, ladies and gentlemen. Absolute legends in the genre in every way. Cedric Bixler-Zavala, Omar Rodriguez-Lopez, you know who we're talking about. I actually just a few days ago ranked their entire discography up into this new album just a few days ago. Go check it out if you haven't already. But I'm here today to chat about this new one. Now, this new one has been hyped for quite some time. They were playing it in full, opening for Deftones on tour. But outside of that, they've kept things relatively quiet. I don't think they had officially announced this record until a few days before its release. Now, the Mars Volta is a band that means a lot to me. They've also pissed me off a lot of times. They've frustrated me, but they've also opened my ears to some of this generation's most interesting progressive rock. Without further ado, let's chat about this new one. Now, spoiler alert, my Spanish is more impressive than my hairline. I'm sorry in advance. Early on in the record, we get tracks like Reina, Tormenta, and instantly I feel much more comfortable listening to this than their self-titled record. Spoiler alert, their self-titled album from a few years ago, I thought this was one of the most middle-of-the-road albums in their discography. It did not move me at all. But this is cool. This is warped. This is otherworldly, a little dark even. But it also has a lot of the characteristics of their Nocturnicate record, which personally I love. It's synthy, it's glitchy, it sounds like it was recorded in another universe. And while different, I'm certainly more amped by this track here than this album's actual intro. We'll get to it. We also have Enlazan Las Tinieblas. I mean, God, this is the ticket. I mean, when this album is on, it is on. This track is straight up chilling. I love the haunted groove and the low-key funk of this track. I mean, it's just as busy as some of their classic cuts when you really break it down. However, it's a little bit more laid back. It's a little bit more in the background behind the groove, but that doesn't stop this track from really getting me going. It's so vast. It's so easy to get lost in. And Cedric on vocals sounds like a damn ghoul that's haunting this cut in the best way. It's a hell of a track. The grooves are real. And I love the way that this track just fizzles out into this colorful blast of wild instrumentation. I love it. Also, really love Mictlán early on in the record. This one kind of comes off as an interlude. It's short, but the band does such a great job of creating this incredibly whimsical and spellbinding atmosphere, all driven by synths. And once again, Cedric's performing is absolutely chilling. Like, he sounds like he's sending his vocals in from another dimension, and I love that. Really love Cue the Sun as well. I mean, I wish that this track was a single, because it's probably the coolest track here, and I have no idea where it even came from. It's a monolithic, heavy, synthy wall of sound that we get here. And it's also one of the most diabolical sounding tracks in the entire Mars Volta canon. This way that this track just slithers along so slowly, and it sounds so dangerous. Not only that, but Cedric matches the energy. He has this very freakish, very manic performance here that I can't even begin to describe, but I also can't get enough of it. A lot of the tracks on this record also are pretty short, but for the most part, they do sound like complete thoughts. Also really love Alba de Orate. This track really does a great job of, following up on the ideas of Cue the Sun. Once again, it's very pensive. It sounds like it could strike at any second, but I just love the bluesy guitar solos and the way that this track continues to have this level of danger. It's really interesting. I also love the way that this track kind of just jams, deconstructs itself, jams some more, and then puts itself back together. Also, some of Cedric's most passionate vocals on this entire album show up here. Voice in My Knives is also so well done. I love the low-key pacing, the hushed atmosphere here. Not only that, but this instrumental may be the most hypnotizing one that we get here. There's some steamy moments as well. I mean, the track is sultry in the Mars Volta's kind of way, which is weird to say, but I stand by it. And from a production stance, this track is just sounding really great. I mean, when this album is at its best, this is my personal flavor of the Mars Volta that I really love. Also love Poseedora de mi sombra. Once again, really cool kind of follow-up to Voice in My Knives, and it does a really great job of carrying on that sound. The lapping guitars, the dreamy instrumental, it is all very, very atmospheric, and it It's smooth, baby. It's real smooth. And more than anything, it's hypnotizing. Like I said, for a lot of this record, this is my preferred flavor of the Mars Volta. However, it is 2025, and this thing is not perfect. Oh, sadly, far from perfect. Like the thin intro that we get here, God, this was not necessary. As a matter of fact, the few feels that we get on this track remind me a whole lot of their self-titled album, and that didn't put a good taste in my mouth. I mean, the atmosphere is here for sure, but Cedric immediately sounds lost. We also have Nefilibata, which, honestly, after a string of really impressive cuts, just brings down my good mood. Cedric's performance on this track, it's certainly soulful, but it's not nearly as hip or as interesting or as sexy as Cedric thinks it is. As a matter of fact, just the opposite. And this track drives me nuts because there's some really cool elements. Love the percussion here. Love the synth work. But whenever Cedric pops in, it just really takes me out of the good mood. And let me tell you, the first half of this record, it's not that bad, but as things push forward towards the midway mark, things get kind of inconsistent. This track immediately brings back so many bad memories. Instantly, the Mars Volta sound lost instead of putting together these really cool atmospheres to get lost in. And the instrumental, sadly, it's really clumsy. For everything cool about this track, like the synth work once again, you have another instrumental falling over it. Also, who told Cedric that these vocal effects sound good? They don't. And at 3 minutes and 48 seconds, somehow this feels like the longest track here. Yeah, it's an absolute disaster, and I think it's the worst cut here. We also have Mito de los Trece Cielos. Once again, we have another under a minute instrumental that just goes nowhere and adds nothing. Listen, y'all put 18 tracks on this album, and it's almost an hour. All of them don't need to be here. This is one of them. We also have Detrás de la Puerta Dorada. And let me tell you, if you want to hear the Mars Volta screw around in the studio for 28 or 29 seconds and then leave without really accomplishing any, let me tell you, have I got the track for you. And Malidos is honestly one of the more pensive cuts here, which, usually I don't mind. But this one is so uneventful. Like, how is this track so boring? Cedric sounds on this track like he's seconds away from passing out, and I'm not far off. I would love to just say that the Mars Volta are back in big capital letters and go on with my life and love this record, but I can't. It's too inconsistent, and I really wish that it wasn't. However, I will still say, I think it's a lot better than the self-titled record. That's just me, though. I do really love the Vociferó in the second half. I do really love Vociferó in the second half. The smoky ambiance, the patient performances. This is more like it. From a performance stance as far as Cedric goes, this is his most intense performance on this entire album in his own way. It's commanding as hell also. Everything about this track's atmosphere is so refreshing. Really also love Un Disparo al Vacío. God, I love how instantly this track is so hard to place and how wonderfully weird it is. You looking for the funk though? Hey, I found it. The groove here that they absolutely slay alongside of Cedric's most charismatic performance, it is cool. Look, just don't just show up to this record thinking you're going to get some heady progressive rock and jazz fusion project and try and take tracks like this as they are, as something cool and refreshing and new in the Mars Volta's discography. I mean, I like it. Also, really love Morgana, the drama here. That I do love. I wish we got more of that. As a matter of fact, this whole track has this mystique to it that I can't get enough of. It's graceful also. Yeah, this album's a little all over the place, but moments like this do make it worth it to listen to. The Cue the Sun reprise definitely lives up to the hype in my mind. This is so good. It's a reprise of maybe the best cut here, but it feels like its own entity. It's a little sunnier, dare I say kaleidoscopic as well. It's brighter than a lot of the material that we've got here, but that feels right somehow. Also, just love how overly psychedelic this cut is. And Lucro Sucio as a finale is really impressive, honestly, and leaves this album off on a very solid note. Hearing this as an outro, it actually gave me the chills. It's one of the quieter and more hushed tracks here, but it still sounds so full of life. Also a little ready to pounce, but it's such a unique finale. Love the low-key groove, love Cedric's visual performance here as well. And if I had one complaint about this cut, I think it actually would have been even more hard-hitting if it landed earlier on in the record. But for a plus 5-minute finale, I'm certainly not bored. Oh, I wish I loved this record. I wish that I could stand here and scream, hey, the Mars Volta are back and putting out killer stuff. But the truth is, this album's not really very consistent at the end of the day. I think it's a whole lot more moving than whatever they were doing on their self-titled album. It's a whole lot more full of life, and they're certainly taking a lot more risks. My only issue with this record is consistency. For every great track here that gives me the chills, there's one that takes me out of that mood and just puts me in a bad one. It's just another sort of middle-of-the-road record from the Mars Volta, but I still do stand by it. This is much better and much more compelling than what they were doing on the self-titled record. Feeling a decent 6 on this album, but let me know what you all think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.